10,000 fearless on the move.
Let's go!
Deep in the delta where the willows grow, in the soil stained by the blood of my ancestors. Punch bowl voices call out to my soul for justice. The wicked will reap what they've sown. Spirit of Aziz is back on the rise. Soldiers in the delta kept it alive. Time to stand up, take our place in the sun. Understand the time and what must be done.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. This is it. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip.
Gotta make a move and take control. Have something we can call our own. So shine your light, help the people see that now is the time for us to be free. And if you waiting on the pie in the sky, you better wake up fast. They told you a lie, cause big fields await the wide awake man. Elijah's got the master.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. Injustice, we've had enough. All of our divisions we're breaking up. Destiny has been calling us. The spirit of the Most High is guiding us.
See, the time is now. What you waiting on? Quit shooting your brothers. Put your gun down. Come on. They got a cage waiting for you if you keep that up. Early graves coming to you. From that, can't raise you up. Now, Sister Ida B and Fannie Lou, check them out and you'll know what to do. But if you really want your enemy to be alarmed, read the final call. Follow Farrakhan.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. 10K fearless on the move. 10K fearless on the move. 10K fearless on the move. In Mississippi. Mississippi. 10,000 fearless on the move.
Hi, salam alaikum. Peace be unto you, and welcome back to the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. I am your brother, friend, and host, Abdul Shaheed Muhammad. Please, we will begin, I should say, immediately. We're a little bit behind schedule, so let us start off in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. We bear witness to the oneness of God, to the oneness of His prophets, and to the oneness of the scriptures that were revealed through them to the whole of humanity. Please allow me to greet you with the greeting words of peace in the Semitic language of Arabic, and we say it, Assalamu alaikum. Those words mean, may peace be unto you. Dear brothers and sisters, glad to be back. We've been away for a while. I think our last broadcast was around May 29th, right at the end of May. So we didn't broadcast it all in June, and we're halfway through July, and we're just getting back on. And I thought it good to take a little time off to listen and to reflect, because we don't just get on the air to just get on the air. We are prayerful when we get on the air, and it's always our prayer that the information we share with you, dear brothers and sisters, will aid us in our spiritual growth and development and serve as some form of guidance in these troubling times, simply because the information is based on our spiritual teacher, my spiritual leader and teacher, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and his sharing and teaching of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And for the over 30 years, I've been a student and follower of his. And I would dare to say many of you can bear witness when we really want to know what's going on in the world, in America, amongst us as a people. When the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan begins to speak, the world listens. So we will be dealing tonight with tonight's program. We are going to be discussing what's really happening to us. I call it Blackman Overboard. We're being thrown overboard, Black America, in the ending of DEI and the cutting or gutting, I should say, of civil rights gains, particularly the Voting Rights Act of 1965. We got information that we just want to share with you that we should really consider, think about, and reflect upon, okay? So I'm expecting to hear from our brother William Muhammad in a couple of seconds. I'm running a little behind, and of course we're going to get our health segment in with Sister Lynchelle, God willing, but we're going to get these commercial messages in first. But before I go there, I always like to give us the principles that undergird our subject or our conversation. We love to use things. I'm trying to there she is. We're going to put her on mute until she's ready to come before us. There we are. Sister Lynchelle is on standby. But let me give you a couple of axioms before we go to commercial break. We should always remember, brothers and sisters, that as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has said to us, quote, "He who gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribes for you the circumference of your activity." Now, we really should think about that. And secondly, he told us, quote, "A slave is one whose power and authority is ruled over by another, and whose sphere of freedom is limited according to the wishes of his master." And we'll give you those two for tonight to think about and to keep in your spiritual back pocket, so to speak, as we begin to discuss. Please feel free to call in. And if you're logged on and you got a user ID, you can type a little message to me of what your thoughts are as we begin to have this discussion. And I will most definitely share your thoughts that are in real time with our listening audience. We have our brother William on. We're going to ask him to just stand by for just a minute, and we'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Taste the difference. Taste Supreme. Enjoy our 100% natural Supreme spring water with natural calcium and magnesium, but zero fluoride and zero chloride. Our bottles are BPA free. Order yours today. Call us at 800-573-8033. That's 800-573-8033. Or visit us online at www.supremespringwater.com. Live supreme. Be supreme. Drink supreme. Supreme Spring Water, 801 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314.
The Urban Indulgence Bath and Body Boutique. At Urban Indulgence, we pride ourselves on offering quality, effective skincare. Handcrafted with plant-based, skin-loving ingredients, our soaps and body butters will give you luxurious lather and ultimate moisture. Experience the Urban Indulgence at 3314 Poplar Avenue in Memphis, 3 blocks west of Poplar Plaza, or shop with us online at theurbanindulgence.com. theurbanindulgence.com.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call Radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
What's your source for truth in news reports?
Justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Where do you turn for non-corporate driven news that's fair and balanced?
No shoot. No shoot. No shoot.
Subscribe to the Final Call News, your #1 free and independent news source that delivers hard-hitting national and international news coverage of today's political, economic, and social issues. To subscribe to local home delivery, call us at area code 662-252-8999. That's 662-252-8999. Visit our website at www.finalcall.com.
Shake's Famous Seasonings. Flavors for every occasion. Want to add a touch of authentic flavor to any dish? Searching for a unique range of seasonings that always put great taste on the menu? Welcome to Shake's Famous Seasonings. Whether you're a professional chef, passionate home cook, or a complete beginner in the kitchen, taste and flavor should always be on the menu. It's why Master Chef Rashid Muhammad has combined more than 30 years in the kitchen with a passion for mouth-watering flavors to create a range of seasonings unlike any other. Always gluten-free, so you can enjoy great taste exactly how nature intended. Versatile flavors that work with fresh fish, chicken, or vegetables from the very first bite. Authentic cooking experience that adds something special to any occasion. Versatile seasonings that are perfect for baking, frying, grilling, and plenty of tasting. Ready for real, authentic flavor? When it's time to see just how delicious seasoned foods can be, why wait? With the click of a button, you can have 30 years of passion for food sent direct to your door. Just what you need to add flavors to every occasion and create meals that you'll always want to eat twice.
Place your order at sfseasonings.com. That's sfseasonings.com.
10,000 fearless on the move.
Yes, indeed. We are back live here at the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. Once again, I am your brother, your friend and host, Abdul Shahid Muhammad. And we have on the line our brother, William Muhammad with the Farm Report. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam, sir.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing fine by Allah's grace. How you doing, Brother Shahid?
I'm doing well, brother. It was thundering and lightning just a few moments ago here in the city of Memphis. I guess it's all subsided. Thank Allah, brother, because I was kind of concerned that the thunder and the lightning was going to hit the power grid and cause everything to shut down, but I think we're a little bit past that. So what do you have to report for us tonight, dear brother?
Yes, sir. Well, on our national farm, I was able to go up to Muhammad Farms last weekend and get some watermelons. I didn't get a full load. There was a limited number. We've been having some issues the last several years dealing with different types of animals getting in and messing up a large percentage of the crops. I've been installing the fence to keep the deer and the wild hogs out. Still having a problem with the turkeys and raccoons, and crows. But so the season was very short. So I wasn't able to make a second trip due to that. But and also on our state farm, Brother Musa, yesterday, as a matter of fact, it's like we'll be harvesting some things in August. Got some okra, beans, bunch beans, which are another different green beans. Got tomatoes. Getting ready to start planting some more squash. They planted some squash, but butternut squash, they're coming up, but they're not producing too good right now. So we're just hoping, we got a lot of rain, so planting over due to the rain destroying some of them because too much rain actually causes, the crops to turn yellow. Yes, sir.
Yes.
I experienced that with some tomatoes.
Right. Yes, sir. Well, brother, God is busy, man. These weather patterns that have great significance, scripturally speaking, and otherwise, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been warning us for some time now to watch the weather. And, of course, in recent events, brother, with the flooding here in the U.S. and Texas and in Mexico and the tornadoes and they're calling it wicked weather. I don't know about all that, but that's not our subject tonight. But, brother, it is something I strongly encourage us to go and hear the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as it relates to what we see of unusual rain and flooding and the hurricanes and the violent storms that America is being beset with, the wildfires. So we're caught up in it, brother. We'll grow what we can. Yes, sir. So what else you got, brother? Is that it?
But that's well, a couple more things. I'm actually making some preparations for our local project. I'm trying to see what would be the best way to go about doing that. They haven't even hooked the water system up there yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I've been talking to some other farmers
Yes, sir.
about some ideas that I have, and I think we're going to go ahead and try to put that hoop house up
Yes, sir.
first, and that'll protect it. So if it's too hot, that'll protect it from sun burning up what's planted.
Yes. Yes, sir. Well, praise be to Allah. Well, brother, we're going to get with the public utility there. I think they have someone else, a new person in charge. His name is Wayne Jones, I think. And we know Brother Wayne, and we're going to see if we can get some movement on getting that water plug set up so we can have access to water. Uh-oh. Okay.
William?
Okay. I think you fell off. There you are. You're back, Brother William?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Oh, say yes, sir. We got you. I was saying, brother, Wayne Jones. Brother Wayne Jones, I'm if I'm not mistaken, I watched the city council meeting Tuesday, and I think he is the newly installed or the person that's in charge of the utility, as I understand it right now. I'll verify that, but hopefully he is, and he's a friend, and we want to get with him because we paid, and that should have been done a long time ago. Okay, so as usual, my brother, we thank you for your report, and thank you for staying with us and being available to come and give us information and updates on what's happening with our national, state, and local farms. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You did say a couple of things. You did just one, Brother William. Did you miss one?
Okay. Yes, sir. The last thing is, we're getting up our next staple good order. Preparations are being made next month. In September, we will begin ordering our staple goods. So I'll try to keep everybody posted on that. Dr. Ridgely, he did say that the wheat, everything was looking fine with the wheat. There were no issues with that. So, inshallah, we will be ordering staple goods in September.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir, brother. Thank you so very, very much. Give him a round of applause, brother. I sincerely thank you, Brother William, for doing what you do. And inshallah, the next time we broadcast, we'll have you back to give us an update. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, sir.
That was our brother William Muhammad. And of course, we're going to keep it moving. Next, we have our health segment with our sister Lynchelle X. Let me see if I can get her unmuted. I should be able to. Sister Lynchelle, you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Yes, let's give her a round of applause. Sister, what you have for us in the matter of health that we should give our ear and attention to?
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, family. I know our last conversation, we was talking about high blood pressure and diabetes. And I did mention that I was going to mention to the audience, our beautiful audience, how hypertension and diabetes were brothers and sisters. So hypertension and diabetes are closely intertwined. And I'm going to tell you how they both come together. Both conditions are influenced by similar lifestyles and physiological factors. One, obesity. Two, a sedentary lifestyle, excuse me for the pronunciation. Three, poor diet. And a poor diet can include high in sodium, sugar, and saturated fats. Another condition is chronic inflammation and stress. And the fourth is insulin resistance. Now, when we talk about how blood pressure and diabetes come hand in hand, when your blood pressure is constantly high, that means it's forcing blood. It's continuing to force blood through your body to complete its full circulation, right? In your whole body, from your head all the way down to your toes.
Yes, ma'am.
Your blood comes from your heart, goes to it. Well, actually, it comes from your heart. Then it goes through your lungs to get oxygenated, and then it goes to the rest of your body, goes down to your lower extremities, which is your legs and feet, and then it returns back up to get reoxygenated again because other organs have now gotten oxygen sources from that blood. So now it's no longer oxygenated, so it has to go be reoxygenated.
Okay.
But when you're obese, we learned in school for every pound for every pound that you're overweight, an additional mile of intestines is needed. An extra mile of veins is needed in order for your body to be supplied sufficiently.
Wow.
So when the body has to create extra, then that's extra stress on the body. So now the heart has to work a whole lot harder to pump blood to the rest of your body, right? So if it's having a hard time pumping blood to the rest of your body, guess what organ is being affected besides the kidneys? And the heart, besides the kidneys, the lungs, the stomach, and everything, one of the other important organs that is being affected is the pancreas.
Oh.
And what does the pancreas produce? The pancreas produces insulin. Insulin is to help regulate the sugar in your body. All fruits and vegetables has its natural God-given sugars. Now, you do have other sugars that manufacturers put in to try to sweeten up the taste and make your body want it more to thrive off of it. Those are not necessarily the healthy sugars that we look for. We look for the natural sugars that come in apples, oranges, carrots even have a sweet taste to it. Those are the natural sugars that we look for. But when your body has to work hard to pump blood, some organs may not get the appropriate sufficient amount of oxygenated blood to it, and the pancreas is one that can suffer. So when it's not getting what it needs, then it cannot produce enough insulin to help balance the sugars that our bodies are taking in, especially if you're not properly taking in. So then now you're faced with dealing with hypoglycemia. That's when your blood sugar continues to drop.
Oh.
Then you get into hyperglycemia because now the blood pressure is high. Okay, we got hypertension, right? So it's having to pump hard. So not all organs are sufficiently getting they're not getting equal blood supply. So now your pancreas can't be filled like it needs to with oxygenated blood to pump properly. Now your insulin production is decreased. Now you're going into hyperglycemia.
Oh,
so when
okay.
You become what we consider a type 2 diabetic.
Wow. I didn't know that. Hyper and hypo.
The hyper, now mind you, some people are born with a deficiency of the pancreas, so we call you a type 1. So you need to take your insulin because your pancreas obviously didn't develop fully. Or something happened in utero while you were being created. Mom may not have been given the right vitamins, maybe not have taken in the right foods, whatever the case may have been, your pancreas does not produce enough. So then those people that are usually type 1 diabetics or will be our juvenile diabetics because they had it from childhood. Childhood diabetes is what occurs and is what we call juvenile diabetes. That's type 1.
Yes, ma'am.
But when you're type 2, when you become a type 2 diabetic, there is definitely a lot you can do about it. And you want to know a few of those things? Some of those things you probably should be doing. You may not have time to do because we're all pressed for time. We're all doing a hustle and bustle. And sometimes you say, well, you know what? Wendy's is open. Oh, they got a good salad. Oh, let me get some of those nuggets too. Let me get you got 5 nuggets for $1? Sure, add some of those on there. So you're going through the drive-thru.
I'm guilty. Yes, ma'am. Chick-fil-A.
A couple of things we can do, some lifestyle changes that can help us manage one or not all conditions to benefit the other. Regular exercise, weight management, balanced diet, stress reduction, and medication adherence. Now, I have a couple of patients, they come in and they want a whole blood work done. So you have your A1C. And you ask the question, what is an A1C? An A1C tells on you. That's what the A1C does. It tells you just how well you've been balancing your diet.
And if your A1C is above a 6, you're pre-diabetic. We want it to be lower than 6. Some people may be between 5 and 5.5, 5.6. Okay, you're headed towards where we don't want you to go. So we tell you to, hey, whatever you're doing, do a little bit more of it. But if you're above the 6, you need to at least exercise 30 minutes, 3 to 5 times a day out the week. 30 minutes is not a long time. It may seem a long time in this busy world that we live in, but it's essential to those that are pre-diabetic, because it don't take nothing but a snap of a finger for you to become diabetic. Now you're on metformin. Metformin has some of the worst side effects for a lot of our patients who take oral diabetic medications. So if we want to, my beautiful family that's listening, the beautiful audience that's listening, if we want to prevent things, if you want to prevent one, you can definitely prevent the other. So we can make sure we exercise, manage our stress as best as possible. When you start your day out in the morning, start your day out with 10 minutes of meditation. Don't reach over and grab your phone and say, "Ooh, let me look at Facebook real quick. Oh my gosh, let me see what emails I probably got." Don't even worry about the world. Focus on you. And then if you have time, on Sundays, if you have any leisure time, try to meal prep. If you don't meal prep but one meal, which may be your breakfast when you break your fast, just, do that. One step at a time can lead to a drastic change. So one puzzle piece that you put down may look really, really small in a puzzle piece collection of 100,000. But once you put it together, that one big picture is beautiful. Wealth is health.
Wow.
Health, excuse me, I said that backwards. Health is wealth.
Praise
That's
be to Allah.
more information on blood pressure, diabetes, and many, many more things that are preventative in our culture. This is Linda X with your Health Minute.
Thank you so much. All praises are due to Allah. Wonderful job, dear sister. And thank you so much. And God willing, the next time we broadcast, we will have you back. All right? Bye-bye. Assalamu alaikum. There you go, my family, brothers and sisters. We certainly thank our dear sister Lynchelle for the health segment. And that was very, very informative information that I certainly did not know before, with the hyper and hypoglycemic. So that's very, very good information that we all should be aware of. So now we are at the 7:34 mark, which we should have started this at around 7:25, which is getting into the meat of our program. But I did start a little late, so that's on me. So brothers and sisters, tonight, as I stated when we began the program, tonight's program, our subject is Black Man Overboard. We can say Black America overboard. We're being thrown off the ship, essentially, with the ending of DEI and the gutting of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Many of us, unfortunately, brothers and sisters, we're engrossed in activities and information. That cell phone and Facebook, boy, that thing is something, and you'll find yourself scrolling the feed, as they call it, longer than you really should if we're not careful. And meanwhile, all of these other things are going on that really we should pay attention to, one of which is, I stated earlier, the weather and what's happening in world and geopolitical affairs. Just pay attention. I'm not here to speak on it. I'm just here to remind us, be watchful as well as prayerful. So tonight, I want to talk about the rollbacks, or the ending, I should say, starting with DEI. And before I go there, let me get some shout outs real quick. Thanks to the new customer base we are beginning to establish. Holly Springs, Marshall County. Thank those of you who are now receiving the Final Call newspaper at your doorstep, in your home. Thank you so much for receiving us. As the brothers, we went door to door, and we are beginning to acquire a customer base. If you're in Holly Springs or Marshall County and you would like to receive the Final Call newspaper at your doorstep, give us a call at area code 662-252-8999. Thank you all so very, very much for receiving the Final Call newspaper. Some of our customers, man, paid weeks in advance. So we're getting some traction with the Final Call newspaper in the homes of our people. And we want to thank our listeners who have tuned in tonight and those that are tuned in throughout Holly Springs. It's clear that you all missed us, because looking at the numbers of you that are on tonight, we certainly appreciate you taking time out to tune in and hear what we will share for this episode of the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. Okay, let's get to it. Now, the first source I went to, of course, was the Final Call. That newspaper. What are we saying about DEI? But I don't want to do that first. Okay? I don't want to present that first, because I want us to hear from what those in leadership, the CBC, is saying, and what their report is saying about DEI and it being ended. It was established under the Biden administration. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is what DEI means. Okay? Now, the question that the CBC asked, got this from their website, the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, actually, from their website. And they asked the question, how does this impact black communities? The removal of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that was one of the questions. But I think it would be appropriate if we would start with, what does the executive order do? The executive order of the Trump administration, of course. And they write, this order declares that diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, efforts are illegal and immoral discrimination. In other words, reverse racism. That's that's my interpretation, y'all. Then CBC didn't say that. That's Brother Shahid's interpretation. It says illegal and immoral discrimination. They said the order mandates that all federal agencies, departments, and commission heads eliminate all environmental justice and diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility. That's DEIA positions. Eliminate all of these positions and offices by March of this year. Well, we're into July. Okay. March 20th was the deadline, or the date given. It continues and it says, the order also ends all equity objectives, initiatives, or programs in the federal government, equity-related grants and contracts, and all DEIA performance requirements for employees, contractors, or grantees, those who issue grants. Okay. It says further, this order rescinds an executive order issued by former President Biden that required federal agencies to submit equity action plans outlining how they were going to achieve DEIA objectives. The order also instructs, we're back on Mr. Trump's order. The order also instructs the director of the Office of Personnel Management, that's OPM, to review all existing federal employment practices, union contracts, and training policies or programs, and amend them as necessary to comply with this order. The order will be enforced by the Attorney General, the Director of Office of Management and Budget. So they're going to enforce this bad boy, okay? And the order requires all federal agencies, departments, and commission heads to send a list of DEI, DEIA, and environmental justice positions, committees, programs, services, activities, budgets, and expenditures that were in effect on Election Day to the OBM, that's the Office of Management and Budget, the OBM director, so they can determine if the efforts were misleadingly labeled in an attempt to preserve their pre-November 4th, 2024 function. So that's it in a nutshell. I wanted to read all of that because, brother and sister, with the end of DEI, And what we're going to share with you of what's happening with the Voting Rights Act and what's on the horizon. I shouldn't say on the horizon, that's already in motion, actually, is effectively, as I coined this program, Blackman or Black America Overboard. And it's a take on what happened to Jonah. You know Jonah in the Bible? He was on a ship, right, headed for Tarshish. And the waves and the ship was tossed on the sea. And they all were praying. They are calling on God. If it sounds familiar, that's because it is. It sounds relevant to today. That's because it is, in fact, relevant to today. But old Jonah, he's in the bottom of the boat asleep. State of suspended consciousness. And all of this ruckus going on, the ship being tossed, and this man ain't got enough nerve to be asleep. Captain of the ship goes to the bottom of the boat and awakens Jonah and tells him to pray. Well, Jonah awakens and he realizes and sees, Jonah knows in his heart why the trouble is, or the ship is being troubled. So Jonah says, throw me overboard. He says, throw me overboard. And of course, they oblige Jonah. Jonah ends up being swallowed by a great fish, as the scripture teaches it. But we're not going to go into all of what that really means. In fact, if you really want to hear it further, God willing, this coming Sunday, which will be July 20th, our subject matter will be a sign or the sign of Jonah. It will be our subject for this Sunday in Holly Springs at 165 North Memphis Street. If you care to join us this Sunday at 10 o'clock a.m., you are certainly invited if you are in the Holly Springs and Marshall County area. Okay? So, but that's what the order calls for. Then the CBC asked the question, how does this impact Black communities? Well, putting it short, they said more than 150 employees in the Office of Environment Justice and External Civil Rights at the Environment Protection Agency were placed on administrative leave in early February in order to comply with the order. That's just one. But here's the one that kind of stands out for me. It says that the order will have negative impacts on Black workers for years to come. In 2023, 18% of federal workers were Black. The order has not only eliminated jobs, but has also ended the recruitment efforts that contributed to the diverse employment force in the federal government. And it says, additionally, the U.S. Marine Corps and Navy stopped offering trainings on sexual assault prevention. I wonder, well, no, I'm not going to even say that. I'm not going to say what was just in my head. But they're going to stop training on sexual assault prevention. And that's running rampant in the military. And reporting, citing recent changes within the White House to remove DEI from all federal policies. Brothers and sisters, don't you know there are over 300,000 Black women engaged in active duty military services? And nationally, only 1 out of 14 Black women who are sexually assaulted report the incident to law enforcement, military police. And this policy, they say, reduces the likelihood that sexual assault victims in the military will receive justice. Meanwhile, they already are not receiving justice. So what are some of the other things happening with DEI? Whereby I would call this being thrown overboard. You know, and it may be a blessing in disguise, because after all, remember, Jonah said, throw me overboard, because Jonah knew God had a job for him to do. God had given Jonah an assignment to go to the city of Nineveh and warn them. But Jonah ran from God. You know how some of us do? Know that it's something we're supposed to be doing. Know that God has a calling on our life. Know we need to clean up and straighten up our life, but we keep making excuses and procrastinating and waiting and dodging. And as soon as we get a disturbance in our life, we want to run back to church. We want to run back to the mosque when you know that's where you should have been cultivating yourself spiritually and taking what we receive there, if we're receiving anything, and impact the community with it. I hope I'm making sense. But listen to some of the other things that are happening. Not only the loss of jobs. Did you all know that the Trump administration, they quietly did this now? See, so much has been going on in the news, particularly with these scandals and whatnot, with the Diddy trial, and now the Epstein is back in the news and all, and then the weather. They can't help but talk about that, you know. And God takes no pleasure in chastising us for our rebelliousness. I'll put it like that. But another thing that has happened, the Trump administration, they quietly remove Dr. Martin Luther King's bust from the Oval Office. As a matter of fact, they're removing a whole lot of civil rights symbols that are displayed prominently in federal buildings. They're moving them out. So the bust of Dr. King that was in the Oval Office, prominently displayed, they've removed that bad boy. That wasn't really talked about in the news, was it? And let me make a correction. The Civil Rights Act of 1964. I said 65 earlier. It was the Civil Rights Act of 1964, so I stand corrected, okay? But Dr. King's bust has been removed from the Oval Office. There are 5 legendary veterans whose bios were deleted from military websites. Yeah. Did you know that civil rights activist, as they call him, Medgar Evers? But you know that, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read this and make sure I say it correctly. Medgar Evers is a World War II veteran and considered a civil rights hero. He's been erased from the Arlington National Cemetery's website after the DEI order was handed down by the Trump administration. And our brother Ben Crump noticed it. I mean, he commented on it on X. He said, quote, "From Medgar Evers to Jackie Robinson and countless other black patriots, who else's legacy will this administration have erased?" They're going to have a whole lot of things. They don't want to teach us black history. So the question is, how are we going to respond? But I'm not done. There are a lot of big tech companies and big companies in general. They are rolling back their DEI programs. IBM is one of them. They're rolling them back because of what's happening. Brother and sister, we're being thrown overboard. I hope we can swim. So a lot of the big major corporations in America are rolling back, meaning that, you know, the provisions they make to, you know, force these big businesses and corporations to have fair hiring practices. The DEI program that was established, and they removing that bad boy. Goldman Sachs on February 27th, weeks after axing a diversity requirement for companies it takes public, dropped a section about diversity and inclusion. So brothers and sisters, I mean, they don't want to include us. So what message is being sent to us? And how should we respond to it? Here's another one that I think you will find very, very interesting. There's a North Carolina sickle cell researcher, and she's fighting back because sickle cell research, as you know or may not know, is very, very important research They sent this sister a termination letter that she was no longer, her research will no longer be funded. They give her $750,000 a year, a grant. Her name is Dr. Charity. I can't pronounce her last name, but it's spelled Oyedeji. That sounds like Oyedeji's. Dr. Charity Oyedeji. Her sickle cell research at Duke University, her grant has been terminated as a result of DEI. And they call that, and listen at the words, they call those kinds of grants wasteful spending. That's what they call it. So, you know, our brother William said, Pharaoh is letting us go. That's definitely a way of putting it, brother. And the reality, the sad part is, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad has warned Black America with these words. The black man must get up and do something for himself before he has it to do. In other words, don't wait till the last minute to where you'll need everything at once because you haven't been doing anything to prepare for what is definitely coming. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has told us that this nation was going to drop black people like a bad habit. And when the ship is troubled, and it is, the economy is bad, the dollar is dying. So they're taking useless weight in their eyes or unnecessary expenditures, and they're cutting it off. Public assistance, all of these things are in the crosshairs, brothers and sisters. But we're not a poor people. We wield $1.3 to $1.5 trillion in spending power. We just haven't properly marshaled it to benefit the whole of our people here in America. And some of us don't even think we should. And that's unfortunate. But as the scripture teaches, and as history has recorded, we are going to be, in our being, I should say, put in a position where we are now going to be forced to do what we should have been doing the whole while. Ain't that something? But they are cutting this doctor's grant of a $750,000 grant. They're cutting it. So, brothers and sisters, look, I'm going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to go into the second half. It's right at the top of the hour, about 6 minutes from it. I'm going to break off a little bit early, and stand by. We will be right back after we roll our commercial messages once again.
Shake's famous seasonings, flavors for every occasion. Want to add a touch of authentic flavor to any dish? Searching for a unique range of seasonings that always put great taste on the menu? Welcome to Shake's famous seasonings. Whether you're a professional chef, passionate home cook, or a complete beginner in the kitchen, taste and flavor should always be on the menu. It's why Master Chef Rashid Muhammad has combined more than 30 years in the kitchen with a passion for mouth-watering flavors to create a range of seasonings unlike any other. Always gluten-free, so you can enjoy great taste exactly how nature intended. Versatile flavors that work with fresh fish, chicken, or vegetables from the very first bite. Authentic cooking experience that adds something special to any occasion. Versatile seasonings that are perfect for baking, frying, grilling, and plenty of tasting. Ready for real, authentic flavor? When it's time to see just how delicious seasoned foods can be, why wait? With the click of a button, you can have 30 years of passion for food sent direct to your door. Just what you need to add flavors to every occasion and create meals that you'll always want to eat twice.
Place your order at sfseasonings.com. That's sfseasonings.com.
Taste the difference. Taste Supreme. Enjoy our 100% natural Supreme spring water with natural calcium and magnesium, but zero fluoride and zero chloride. Our bottles are BPA free. Order yours today. Call us at 800-573-8033. That's 800-573-8033. Or visit us online at www.supremespringwater.com. Live supreme. Be supreme. Drink supreme. Supreme Spring Water. 801 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
What's your source for truth in news reports?
Justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Where do you turn for non-corporate driven news that's fair and balanced?
No shoot. No shoot.
Subscribe to the Final Call News, your #1 free and independent news source that delivers hard-hitting national and international news coverage of today's political, economic, and social issues. To subscribe to local home delivery, call us at area code 662-252-8999. That's 662-252-8999. Visit our website at www.finalcall.com.
The Urban Indulgence Bath and Body Boutique. At Urban Indulgence, we pride ourselves on offering quality, effective skincare. Handcrafted with plant-based, skin-loving ingredients, our soaps and body butters will give you luxurious lather and ultimate moisture. Experience the Urban Indulgence at 3314 Poplar Avenue in Memphis, 3 blocks west of Poplar Plaza, or shop with us online at theurbanindulgence.com. theurbanindulgence.com.
10,000 fearless on the move.
Yes, indeed. And we are back live here with the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. Once again, I am your host, brother and friend Abdul Shahid Muhammad. We are talking about Blackman or Black America Overboard. We're being treated like dead weight. Like when an airplane is about to crash, they lighten the load. So they're lightening the load, the economic load. In fact, as we were talking prior to going to the break with Dr. Charity Oyedeji, her sickle cell research program at Duke was terminated, and she receives only $750,000 a year. You should hear the numbers that some of these other grants, multi-million-dollar grants, okay? So don't think that $750,000 grant is a whole lot of money. But listen at some of the verbiage that they used in the notice that they sent her. Listen at what they say. According to the article, is from the WRAL Health Reporter. That's in the Carolinas, where she's stationed. But listen at some of the language in the letter when they sent her the notice. It says, quote, research programs based primarily on artificial and nonspecific categories, including amorphous equity objectives, are antithetical to the scientific inquiry, do nothing to expand our knowledge of living systems, provide low return on investment, and ultimately do not enhance health, lengthen life, or reduce illness, end quote. That's what they said. And Sister's response to it, she said, quote, I've never in my life, even in a grant rejection letter, never used words like that were unscientific and just discriminatory. In other words, they didn't produce any scientific language as to why they decided to defund her, if you will. The letter also said these words, quote, DEI studies are often used to support unlawful discrimination on the basis of race and other protected characteristics, ICOs, which harms the health of Americans. Therefore, it is the policy of the NIH, National Institute of Health, not to prioritize such research programs. End quote. Wow. That's what we're dealing with, black people. And we sit around here asleep now. Meanwhile, and that's not understandable, the scripture said Jonah was asleep, the bottom of the boat. Like we're last. We're at the bottom rung of the societal totem pole, of the proverbial totem pole of society. Black America is at the bottom rung. We're in a state of suspended consciousness. We sleep. But the ship now is being tossed. Political upheaval, all kinds of upheaval going on. So now we're being thrown overboard. And a great fish is waiting on us if we don't get on with God's call on our lives. So that's another thing. And there is more. Believe it or not, there is actually more. We got about another 26 minutes left in tonight's broadcast. So I'm going to move a little quicker, okay? Don't you know that the Pentagon Intelligence Agency, they paused observances for Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Juneteenth this year? Paused it. And they, in a Defense Intelligence Agency, the instructions, sent a Defense Intelligence Agency memo dated January 28th that affect 11 annual events. The Defense Intelligence Agency, the article states, will pause all activities and events related to agency special emphasis programs effective immediately and until further notice. That's what the memo said. So among those special observances and special programs that were halted was Martin Luther King Day, Juneteenth. Also included was Black History Month, Women's History Month, Women's Equity Day, Holocaust Days of Remembrance, Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Pride, National Hispanic Heritage Month, National American Indian Heritage Month, National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Yes. And this affects predominantly black and, as they use that language, brown people. That's what's going on, Black America. Now, I want to spend the last part of the program discussing what they're doing with voting rights. So we'll know. Now, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad warned us to be careful with national election. Okay? Now, there's some utility in the vote if properly leveraged, if undergirded by effective support economically, because politics, in the absence of economics, is symbol without substance. You hold the office, but because that particular representative is funded by somebody else outside or other than the constituency they represent, Black community, then they do the bidding of he who pays the piper. Because he who pays the piper is an old saying, we know it, they call the tune. So we don't dance to the music of the demands that the constituency would place on that representative, whether he be local, state, or federal. They dance to the tune of those who fund them. That's a fact. They are the sycophants and the hirelings, if you will, of those who butter that bread. This is nothing new to us, brother and sister. But it's just all coming to a head. And I know it's an uncomfortable conversation. A lot of times we don't want to talk about it. Oh, y'all always, okay, that's fine. That's cool. You know, but it's kind of like ignoring cancer. You know, and at some point we're going to have to deal with it. And the one thing about cancer, if you want to survive it, you got to catch it in its early stages. You got to catch it as soon as you can. Okay? But where the Voting Rights Act is concerned, did you know that the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court, they want to reassess the voting law born out of the Voting Rights Act of 1964? And guess who is the tip of the spear for that effort? Clarence Thomas. They want to remove provisions that ensured that local and state legislators and lawmakers in particular, they want to move provisions that kept them from gerrymandering district lines to ensure that the person that held that local seat was always somebody that looked like them. Several cities and counties throughout America, Black people had to sue to keep them from gerrymandering district lines, whereby it ensured that we were underrepresented at the polls. As a matter of fact, when I was working with our brother, Shabaka Africa in West Memphis, Arkansas, they filed a lawsuit back in the 80s and won, because Crittenden County in the state of Arkansas was gerrymandering district lines that kept Black people out of political offices by sheer numbers. As a matter of fact, in the history of Arkansas, post-Reconstruction, most of the legislators in Crittenden County were Black. And I can't remember what year it was. It was in the late 1800s. Whites who were unhappy because Blacks voted in blocks back then. And that's something that we would probably have to revisit. And because they voted in blocks, they held many critical offices in Crittenden County in the late 1800s. Well, the white citizens of that time were angry about it. Guess what they did? They organized themselves and armed themselves and went to the offices. And they did this, and they synchronized it. All of those offices that were important, that were held by Black officials that they wanted removed, they went to those offices simultaneously and held those officials at gunpoint, forced them out of the building, put them on a boat, sent them into Memphis, and dared them to ever return. This is history. See, this is one of the reasons they don't want history taught, what happened to us. We don't know the tip of the iceberg of the things that we as a people, our ancestors, suffered, that we tend to want to forget. And those who fail to learn the lessons of history are doomed to repeat them. That's an axiom that we love to throw around, but somehow we really don't believe it, because we have this aversion, if you will, to talking about and teaching our children about the struggle of black people, particularly in states like Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia and Louisiana and Florida, the Deep South. Our people suffered like heck. Mississippi was one of the worst places for black life in America earlier in the history of this country. And today, it still is. It still is. And I'm witnessing some of it myself, have witnessed it, have the blessing of traveling throughout the state of Mississippi, and I see it. Fear. You know, Senatobia just got rid of their police chief, who, according to some of the incidents that occurred that I have seen and things that this gentleman wrote and said as the, police chief of a municipality who is responsible for public safety. And I just about gasped at some of the things I saw and heard. I'm like, this man is given the responsibility of serving and protecting the people? And this is the kind of thing, whether we want to face it or agree or not, that we will be beset with if we don't do what is in the best interest. And this is not to be done to the detriment of anybody else. If helping me and helping ourselves hurts somebody else, that means somebody else is dependent upon us staying in an unhealthy state as a community, whereby they benefit from our lack of a healthy community. Well, that's called tyranny or oppression. It's like, in order for me to thrive, your lights got to stay off while mine stay on, yours stay on. But if I turn my lights on, you got a problem with it, because my bulbs burn brighter than yours and you don't like that. And that was the case with Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was a more beautiful community. It was a well-established community. They were envious of it, and they thought of a reason to burn it down and kill a great number of its residents. And we don't think that that mind is still present and prominent. We think it's just the fringe or in the deep recesses of the American political and social landscape. Well, no, it's not, brother and sister. Don't be naive. Oh no, this attitude and mindset is quite prominent in American society today. And I don't say this for us to be afraid. Oh, it's time for us to quit being, I ain't gonna say it like that. It's time for us, brother and sister, to awaken to just a human responsibility. The responsibility that any living creature has. Do something for itself and not depend on somebody else to do it. Now, Holly Springs just got a new administration in, and we're prayerful that things will be done to benefit that community. It has great potential, but it needs the kind of leadership that's forward thinking and not easily threatened by the genius of others that come with ideas that can move that city forward. And the representation has to be beholden to the constituency and not moneyed interest. I'm not saying that it is, but that's been the pattern. That's been the pattern. We've got black mayors, black alderpersons, black city council persons. We got black police chief. We got black everything. But the condition of the constituents remains the same. So people are apathetic about voting. So in cities, you have a population, 8,000, 9,000 people, but only less than 1,000 of them actually even care to vote. So those who win office, if you look at it politically, they really don't even have a mandate to govern. That's something to think about, brother and sister. And we can avoid it, ignore it all we want, but at some point, we're going to have to deal with it. And that is what's happening with diversity, equity, and inclusion being rolled back and erased. And now Voting Rights Act is fixing to be gutted. The provisions that protected underrepresented people in this country and that protected us from states that had a history, as the article says, of racist practices of stifling the vote, particularly of black people. They're going to remove those provisions so they can shut up. You know what it's a tantamount to? It's like when Abraham Lincoln established the Emancipation Proclamation, and in order to enforce it, he had federal troops in the South that enforced the Emancipation Proclamation. Yeah, the emancipation of the slaves. He had a police force, a military police force in the South that enforced the law and made sure that the citizens in the South abided by it. Well, in 1877, the presidential election between James Samuel Tilden, I should say, and Rutherford Hayes. Hayes won the presidency, but the South, they were upset and they were threatening another civil war or to secede. So they compromised. It's called the Great Compromise in American history. But for us, it's called the Great Betrayal of the Negro. Because in order for Hayes to hold office, one of the concessions was he would remove the federal troops from the South that were enforcing the Emancipation Proclamation. So although the law was on the books, it was the law, but they had no police force to enforce the law. So in the vacuum of the removal of those federal troops, the Night Riders were born. The Ku Klux Klan was born. So now, brother and sister, they're removing DEI. They're removing provisions in the Voting Rights Act. So now Klan-like mentality is going to be at the ballot box. Although we have the vote, but because there's nothing to enforce fairness in the political process, will our vote really matter? That's something to really, really think about, black man and woman. So as we approach the close of tonight's program, we want to certainly thank all of you as you have tuned in. I hope and pray you all should go and research this. And let me get to the final piece, which is the Final Call newspaper and the response to this. And our people are responding in pockets throughout America. Black folks see this stuff. Some of us see this now. And one of the things that's happening is economic withdrawal is starting to get traction. It is one of the latest calls to harness and redirect our dollars. And the article in the Final Call, written by our sister, national correspondent Charlene Muhammad, it was dated March 10th of this year. One of the things that she wrote, or one of the persons that's responded, his name is Reverend Bryant. He called on 100,000 conscientious citizens to cease shopping with Target. And I'm sure y'all heard that, and it caught on. And this initiative also will call on people to sell any Target stock they own. See, it was likened unto the Montgomery bus boycott that was headed by Dr. Martin Luther King, where blacks were forced at that time to sit at the back of the bus, so we just stopped riding it. But here's the thing that made it effective, to ensure that the boycott could be not only effective, but sustained. See, that's the thing that we have a problem with. You know, our attention span is too short and we don't sustain it. But the bus boycott of that time, the black leadership organized carpools, and the city's black taxi drivers, they only charged 10 cents to ride in the taxi, which was the same price as the bus fare of that time. So the boycott could be sustained. So those brothers who drove taxis were willing to take a pay cut. And see, the problem with many of us today, we don't want to make any sacrifices. We don't want to be made uncomfortable. We don't want to be inconvenienced. If the struggle means I got to be inconvenienced, then, we with you though, we with you. But no, we're not going to make a sacrifice. We're not going to allow ourselves to experience any discomfort. So it continues. So the boycotts were very impactful. So today, as recorded in the Final Call newspaper, the call by brothers and sisters around the country to economically withdraw. And if you really think about it, that is the best weapon at our disposal. The fact that black people have a $1.3 to $1.5 trillion income and spending power. If a critical mass of that wealth is marshaled, or I should say, captured, harnessed for the benefit of us as a people to ensure that we're okay, then somebody's going to want to come to the negotiating table, sit down and talk this thing out. So it's not all gloom and doom, brother and sister. Be encouraged. God is on our side. He's always on the side of the oppressed and the marginalized and the disenfranchised. He's on our side. We've been fighting this struggle for a long time, for generations. And here it is, 2025, and we're still dealing with these ghosts of Jim Crow and all of these other monsters. Okay? So that concludes it, brothers and sisters. We're going to get to a cultural segment for tonight's program. And tonight, I just want to share with us just a little music, just to hold on. Where is it? I want to just share a little music with us tonight, just to lift our spirits a little bit, because tonight was kind of a heavy thing when you really think of what's going on. And we need to really, really consider our actions and reevaluate our thinking in a lot of areas, and allow the truth to guide us, brothers and sisters, and lose the fear and lose the emotional response to it, and look at things for what they really are, and govern ourselves according to the truth that we know, and continue to seek truth that we may make even better and better decisions. But the one thing that we definitely got to revisit, and that is our unity, because that's how we're going to get through this thing, brothers and sisters. So at this time, I just want to give you a little music to take you out of tonight's program. So this one's called On the Wall. Wrote this a few years ago. So give it a listen, and we'll be right back to close tonight's program. All right?
In a universe built on the law of truth, we must understand that any world built on other than the truth has a very limited time to stand. Can't you see the economy is getting worse every day? Cost of living at an all-time high, we wonder how we're gonna pay. Our children bringing guns to school, finding poison in our food. How much longer will it last? 'Cause time is moving fast. There's a hand on the wall. Well, there's a handwriting on the wall. Somebody read it. Read it. Tell me what it says. On the wall. 50 million people can't even read above the 5th grade. Do you really believe we still live in a democracy? Morality is gone.
Look how we carry on. More people locked away than any country on the globe. Cause there's a hand on the wall. They knew this day would come. There's a hand writing on the wall. Somebody read it. Tell me what it says. So now we're working day and night to try to lead our people to the light. We need right guidance, y'all. So please believe that it's the final call. Wars, rumors of wars, pestilence, plagues, children committing murder nowadays. Women walking their beauty naked in the street. They seek it, but they can't find peace. Politicians keep lying, they won't tell us the truth of what's really going on. I hate them. Poor people drown, they build a stadium. Many can't even read this. This is democracy. Not pushing through the globe. This is the reality. Right now, and the writing is on the wall. Come on, my people. I know you hear him calling you, and you see that it's getting late. So we better leave today. So we better get moving now, y'all. Come on. This time is running out. My grandfather told me that there's a handwriting.
Yeah, brother and sister, whether we want to believe it or not, the handwriting is indeed on the wall. We want to thank you so very much for tuning in to tonight's program. We want to close out by hoping and praying that God will bless us with the light of understanding and with health, wealth, and protection in these troubling times. Brothers and sisters, I want to leave you with, always remember that no one can attempt to help our people do anything productive and constructive without feeling personal hurt, pain, loss, being evil spoken of, falsely accused, sometimes beaten, sent to prison, or even put to death. This is the path of Jesus. This is the path of Muhammad. And this is the path of every sincere person who wants to see his or her people delivered from our present condition. Please remember, always remember, that self-improvement is the basis for community development. We leave you as we came before you with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum, or peace be unto you.
Gotta make a move and take control. Have something we can call our own. So shine your light, help the people see that now is the time for us to be free. And if you waiting on the pie in the sky, you better wake up fast. They told you a lie, cause big fields await the wide awake man. Elijah's got the master.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. Injustice we've had enough. All of our divisions we're breaking up. Destiny has been calling us. The spirit of the Most High is guiding us.
See, the time is now. What you waiting on? Quit shooting your brothers. Put your gun down. Come on. They got a cage waiting for you if you keep that up. Early graves coming to you. From that, can't raise you up. Now, Sister Ida B and Fannie Lou, check them out and you'll know what to do. But if you really want your enemy to be alarmed, read the final call. Follow Farrakhan.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. 10K fearless on the move. 10K fearless on the move. 10K fearless on the move. In wasn't fearless on the